Hi everyone! Today I will be teaching you how to change strings and care for maintenance amongst your violin. So changing violin strings should be done regularly. I change mine probably every 6 months to a year depending on how often and how much I play. And the process of changing a string can be difficult for a beginner, but as you get more advanced, this process can become much easier. And so I was just going to demonstrate how I change my strings on my violin to help you guys in case any of you would love to take up the profession as well. So first off, we have to know some parts about the violin. So first here we have the tailpiece, which is where the strings are held to keep tension. These have different types. You can have up to hole or peg. And these pegs actually are able to fine tune the string to a point where you can get the note to the accurate position you'd want. Moving along there, we have the bridge. The bridge is here and is used for tension. And what the bridge does is it transfers the vibrations from the string into the wood pieces of the violin that causes it to vibrate and resonate the sound. So moving up to the top, we have the pegs. And what the pegs do is they help hold tension and ensure that the tuning process can be held. And you'll notice that a violin has 4 strings. You have G, D, A, E. And so each string has to be changed regularly in order to keep them. Some people change E strings more often, and this is because they're thinner and wear down sooner. So what I'm first going to do is take the string off of the instrument, and so you'll see that the tension is just held by strings at the top, like here. And what you'll do is you'll just unwind it counterclockwise until it gets loose. And so once it's loose, then you just kind of twist it until it gets to a point that it just comes out. And another key tip about this is that when changing strings, you can never take off more than one at a time because the tension will be so loose that the pegs inside and parts of the instrument will actually fall over and you'll need a luthier to repair it. So that's something that you don't want. So here we have the old string, and as you can see, it's been used for quite some time. And then next I use dominant violin strings, which are very standard amongst musicians and other players. So with that string, you can see that they're a lot more tense and actually non-rigid. And so with this, you have the ball at the end that was able to go into the peg at the tailpiece, and that's where it gets held. So then you just get your instrument, you place it in, pull it up, you go over to the top. This part's a little difficult. You get your string at the very top and bend it to a 90-degree angle. So that way it has an area to stop at. Then you insert that into the hole on the peg. And what that allows is for the string to not go all the way through, but to have a stopping point, so that way it doesn't scratch the instrument as you tune it and potentially damage your own instrument. So okay, and so once I have that, I then typically, let me move, like to keep my string held firmly against the side of the wood. And what this allows is for the peg to not slip out when tuning because the tension is already there. And so you just develop a habit of doing that over time because it keeps the string in place when tuning, because the tension will no longer be there. Okay. Okay, and once you get to a certain point of almost completely in, but still a little bit loose, a key component of this is actually a pencil. And so with the pencil, you'll go over to your points where you have the string that you want to change. And you mark the little line where the wood strings wood and string connect because the graphite is providing a source of lubricant and can help the strings avoid tension to a point where they break. And so you do that for the top as well as the bottom. And you just mark it up. You want to put a little bit, not too much because then it'll get dirty, but just enough to where you get a noticeable amount of graphite on there. So then you take it, and once you finish, the string's now be replaced. It's out of tune, but that's something that you can fix. So okay, so I went and tuned it off camera because I needed to get my tuner out and I didn't want to do it by ear and get it completely untuned. So I went and tuned it, and so now we have, and there's still a little out of tune, but that's something we can work on and improve. But that's the basics of how you change a string. The only difference amongst all of my strings is that the E string, or the highest string that has this little gold part, actually, instead of having a ball, has a loop. It is referred to as a loop end string. And so what that allows is for the musician to just place it over for easier string replacement access in case the instrument gets overworked and the string may snap. So that's the basics of how you change a string. Next up, I was going to teach you how to clean an instrument properly. And so with that, I end up using a microfiber cloth, and all I do with that is just go down the instrument and make sure that none of the dust or rosin builds up, because the dust and rosin can eventually lead to corrosion of the instrument and can damage it permanently, which is something that you would not want, especially for an instrument as old as mine. And you just clean everything. This also helps you get off the extra graphite that you put on when changing strings to ensure that the strings are in place as well. And so that's the basics of how you maintenance your violin. Thank you.